All right. Welcome back, everybody. It's your boy. It's the one and only. We're gonna do another liberals need a wake up call part of this series, and I wanted to really tackle just kind of quintessentially how liberals are essentially still conservatives. I think there's this common misconception that the two parties in America represent not only just like a fraction, not only the whole of American political spectrum, but even a fraction of it. I think a lot of people here, especially, have some kind of like weird allegiance to either pick one of the two, Democrats or Republicans in America, of one of the major parties, because they think that that's really the only. Not only do they think that's their only options, I think people subconsciously aren't prepared to really examine what the other true options are. As you see, everyone's kind of wishing to be this red or blue, but no one's actually wanting to make their country better. There's this kind of result that happens because of this, where both of these parties are trying to constantly distance them from each other, their identities. I distinctly remember, even now, man, liberal is a dirty word for conservatives, for leftists. I don't know how liberals feel about all that. I think there's kind of like a interesting thing going on there, almost like a happy acceptance of mediocrity or whatever it is. But everyone outside of liberals can really recognize that there's a gross trait to them. And with conservatives, obviously, just at least liberals have redeeming qualities. Conservatives really are like the worst of the two, and I don't think that's really gone into enough as much. And I think that might be because of the two parties. If there were more political ideological groups, identities, I think, at least in my view, I think Americans and people in general, let's just say Americans since it's our country and our parties, there would be way more understanding and representation and identity too with the liberals and conservative parties. But of course, what you get is this two-party system that's a one-party system in disguise. Liberals are conservative in essence because they don't want to be progressive. They want to conserve. They just want to conserve on their terms. They think, all these, I could go on so many different things, guys. Like there's so many things you could say about this, all of them. Every single time you point them out, they're just examples of people who don't really know what's actually going on. I often wonder if liberalism in its modern iteration is a product of just seeing conservative, the sickness of conservatism in America and wanting to distance oneself from that as much as possible, or if it's a genuine, enjoyable, pseudo-enjoyable, somehow enjoyed pursuit to become and identify as a liberal. Liberals believe that change can exist with things that do not change the system, like votes or strikes. They think boycotts are sufficient and an actual way of dealing. It's performative politics, man. It's just it's soccer mom leftism, dude. It's so barren of any actionable content, of any actionable value. There's a core preservation, a core desire for that preservation that people have because people are afraid of change and what it looks like, for one thing, and two, because actually embracing that and understanding what must be done is kind of a total thing. It doesn't take a person just a couple of things. You realize, two pieces of information and you're no longer a conservative and you're a liberal. things kind of happen, and then you end up identifying as it differently. But to be truly political, you end up really needing to spend a lot of time in your spare time going as much outside of these traditional sources, these exposed sources that we have, and finding the actually valid, not just any other source, but actually true sources, which is, essentially, I guess what I'm getting at is that there's way too much of a skill gap, a skill ceiling for politics, and the average person has to know too much about the actual political identities to actually be able to say, like, hey, liberals are progressive or conservatives are traditional, when either are not. Conservatives are reactionary and liberals are traditional. They're both the same party. They both want capitalism. They both want things to generally stay the same. Even if they want little tweaks and changes, they're all kinds of trimming of the branches around the tree, and not real actual total change that we kind of all recognize we really need at this point. So I think I'll get more specific in the later videos about what that really looks like. But I think for now this is a good dipping of the toes, so to speak, and I want to keep this one short too. So see you in the next one. Thank you again, guys. Take it easy and be well.